Salutations from Wizard Studios. I am the Wizard. We have a lot to get into today. We got the Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker fight coming up. We have the Blaydes and Volkov fight that just ended. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so first up, Curtis Blaydes versus Alexander Volkov. Alright, it went almost exactly how I thought it was going to go. I thought Curtis Blaydes was going to come out strong, beat on Volkov, and he did for about 3 rounds, and he got tired just how I thought, and I thought Alexander Volkov was going to come back and win. But Curtis Blaydes dug deep, and he got the W, and that shows us how much heart Curtis Blaydes has. It was an excellent victory. I do not agree with Dana White attacking his fighter after the fight. I thought that was a little uncanny. Him and Curtis have been clashing now for a couple of years, it seems like. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's over pay. I don't know if it's over the rankings. I don't know if it's both. But it's weird. Okay? It never works out well for these fighters that clash with Dana White. We see it time and time again. Take Rashad Evans' advice. Keep your head down. Unless it's something that you just cannot ignore. And let's appreciate this victory, man. Because it was a solid win. Curtis went in there and absolutely dominated. Volkov had his moments. I thought he won the 4th round. He could have won the 5th. He did more damage, but Curtis had more control. Whatever. But Curtis clearly won in a dominant fashion. Yeah, it wasn't an exciting fight, but it wasn't boring. There was a lot going on. And plus the fatigue factor had you glued to the seat like, man, is he going to be able to make it through this? And then to get bashed by the president afterwards, come on, man. Next up, we have Josh Emmett versus Shane Burgos. Dude, I thought Shane Burgos was the dark horse of this division, and after this fight, he still very well could be. The dude keeps his hands low, and he's done it forever, and I understand it's his style. A lot of people do it. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson might be the best at it. Whatever. Tony Ferguson. All these people that do it and get away with it. Whatever. Shane Burgos does not get away with it, and his chin took a pounding because of it. I thought Josh Emmett was getting lucky with some of these knockouts. I will go out on a limb and tell you that, because it is the truth. I thought he was getting lucky. Dude is not getting lucky. The dude is super talented. And you saw that because he has a torn ACL and a bunch of other stuff in that knee. That knee is wrecked. It is blown out. And it happened in like the 1st round. And he still got the win. Still got the win against Shane Burgos, who is a freaking stud. It was an awesome fight. Was it better than young Jacek and Weili? No. Was it better than Colby and Usman? No. But it was still awesome. It was right behind those two. Right behind those two. Shane Burgos with the leg kicks. And, he was trying, man. He was trying. You saw how tough Shane Burgos was. I felt like if he would have kept going to the well with the leg kicks, he could have got the win. But, I think maybe some gamesmanship. He did not want to affect that, I don't think. I think he knew that his leg was hurt, and I think he was being a good sport and saying, all right, let's duke this out. Because he was going to the well, and then he stopped. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was an IQ error, a fighter IQ. That could be it. Maybe he's just not a smart fighter. Maybe he's not as smart as I thought he was. But a lot of fighters, if a guy has an injury and they find out about it, will respect that. And because it wasn't an injury that he caused, it was just like a misstep. He was like, all right, let's keep it square. But I could be wrong. If I was in his shoes, dude, I would be kicking the pee out of that knee. I would be going after it. It's a win or a lose situation. You heard Darren Till talking this past week with Michael Bisping. He was like, you know, do you want the best Robert Whittaker to show up or the worst? And he was like, I want the worst. Why? Because you want the win. And I think if Shane Burgos goes home and realizes, and if I'm right on this, that he did not execute his full game plan and stopped with the leg kicks because his leg was hurt and compromised, that cost him the fight and to go into the top 10 of the featherweight rankings, he will regret it. Now, with that being said, an awesome win for Josh Emmett. For that leg to be compromised within a minute of that fight, for him to stay in the pocket and throw bombs and to get the win like that, dude, so much respect for that dude. I didn't think he was the same since the Stevens fight, and boy, was I wrong. Excellent victory. Congrats to Josh Emmett. Rappel Pennington and Mario Reneau. Look, man, I mean, this is easy right here. It was a close fight for the first round and a half, all right? And then Raquel Pennington's power and technique was just too much for Mario Reneau to handle on the feet. Maybe if she could have got it to the ground, it would have been different. But I don't think, you know, like, I really don't think so. I think Raquel Pennington could have hung in there on the ground. It was a good win for Raquel. She needed this victory. She looked good doing it, man. I mean, it was a good fight for her. Mario Reneau's tough as nails, though. Like, she is tough as nails. Because Raquel was landing clean towards the end of that fight. And Marion was eating them. It was a good fight, good performance for Raquel, good win. Happy to see her get it, and, you know, let's see what's next for her. See what's next for Raquel. I know she wants to get back up towards that title, and this was a good victory and moving her right back in that direction. Belal Muhammad and Lyman Good. Man, Belal Muhammad got to the stick and move action, and he just stuck to it. Now, Lyman Good, I felt like this could have been a draw, okay? It could have been a draw, but it was a close fight. Either guy could have got the win, in my opinion. But they gave it to Belal. I'm happy with that. Lyman Good, you know, he got the knockdown in the third. The second round was very close. It could have gone either way, in my opinion. But Belal gets the decision. And, you know, he was sticking, he was moving, he was landing shots. But what I felt like is, what is a significant strike, you know? Like, I think Lyman Good's significant strikes are more significant than Belal Muhammad's. That is what I feel like. That's what I was saying before this fight happened. And I guess the judges didn't feel that way. But I certainly felt that way watching it. Watching Belal eat them. Watching Lyman eat Belal's shots. Either way, it was a very close fight. It could have gone either way. They gave it to Belal. I was okay with it. It was a good fight. Belal was sticking and moving. The first round, he definitely won. The second round could have gone either way. The third round, Lyman definitely won. So, what do you do in that situation? You have to give it to who you think won the fight. The judges thought Belal won it. So, we move on. And it was a good fight. It was a really good fight. If, you know, Emmett and Burgos wouldn't have fight, this would have probably gotten fight of the night. It was an excellent fight. Good win for Belal Muhammad. let's see who he gets next. Jim Miller versus Roosevelt Roberts. Let me say this. Roosevelt Roberts knew going into this fight that he did not need to go on the ground with Jim Miller, and yet he gets taken down within the first minute. They're both dry. Jim Miller shows you that he is not through. Shows you that he is a vet, that, you know, maybe he is a gatekeeper, maybe he isn't a gatekeeper, but if he is a gatekeeper, he is a dominant gatekeeper, and, you know, that he could still beat these young guys. And that is saying something, because these young guys are hungry and are trying to make a name for themselves. They want this Jim Miller name on their resume, and yet they cannot get it. They cannot get it. What does that say? It says that Jim Miller may not be able to beat the top 7, the top, maybe not the top 10. Maybe he can give some of them a run. I don't know. The dude is good, okay? Go back and watch that Dustin Poirier and Jim Miller fight, okay? Jim Miller is a force at the lightweight division. He might be the 15th best lightweight in the world, and he could still beat these up-and-coming guys. If they have a hole in their game, he will find it, and he will execute on it. So this weekend's fight card between Dustin Poirier and Dan Hooker, it is excellent. I mean, I really like it. I think it's going to be a really good card. So let's get right into it with Dustin Poirier versus Dan Hooker. I think that Dustin Poirier, coming off of the loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov, he's never lost 2 in a row. Never. Now, with that being said, he's had the hip surgery. I think he's going to throw more kicks in this fight. So it's not just going to be the old, you know, boxing-oriented Dustin Poirier who doesn't throw too many kicks at all. I think he's going to incorporate more leg kicks in this fight. I think Dustin Poirier has good cardio. I think Dan Hooker does get tired. We saw that in his last fight. I think in the first couple rounds, Dan Hooker is going to light him up, and he has, you know, the opportunity to put it on Dustin then. And if he takes advantage of it, he could get it. But Dustin is a vet. He has been in the UFC forever. I really think if Dustin can drag this into the late 3rd round, 4th round, I think he can put him away. Not just win a decision, I think he can put him away. I think if Dustin goes to the body, like we saw in the Barboza fight, and Dustin can and will, I believe, we're going to see a dirty dog fight. It's going to be good, and I'm picking Dustin Poirier. In the co-main event, we got Mike Perry versus Mickey Gall. Talk about a clash of styles. Now, I will say this. People think that Mike Perry doesn't have good, you know, jiu-jitsu because of the Donald Cerrone loss. He doesn't have bad jiu-jitsu, guys. All right, go and watch the grappling match with him and Ally Aquinta. He does not have bad jiu-jitsu. And people who think that Mickey Gall is just this world beater on the mat, I think Mickey Gall's okay on the mat. He's good. He's not great. Okay? He's not great. He's not as good as Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Alright? He's not. Let's just make that very clear. So I don't think Mickey Gall's going to be able to submit Mike Perry. Unless Mike Perry makes a very big error. And gets emotional or something. But I think Mike Perry can get the knockout, man. In the 2nd round, maybe the 3rd. Mickey Gall gets tired. He gets tired. Mike Perry throws body shots. Mike Perry, you know, Mike Perry turns things, makes him ugly, you know? He just makes him ugly. And Mickey Gall, you know, how do I say this? He fights hard. You know, he goes out there to get the win immediately. And sometimes that's not the best strategy. So, let's see how Mickey Gall approaches this. Let's see if he goes out there and tries to put, you know, Mike Perry away early. or if he takes a more measured approach this time. But in every fight that I've seen Mickey Gall in, it's been, let's get the kill in the first 2 minutes. So, we'll see what happens. But I really feel like Mike Perry is going to get the knockout in the later rounds. Next up, we have Brendan Allen versus Kyle Daukaus. So, Kyle Daukaus is coming in on late notice. This was supposed to be Ian Heinisch versus Brendan Allen, but Ian Heinisch had to pull out with an injury. So, now we have Brendan Allen versus Kyle Daukaus. Now, Kyle Daukaus is more of a grappling-oriented guy, but we have to remember that Brendan Allen does have a black belt. So, I am going to go with Brendan Allen by third round TKO in this one. I think that it's just going to be a little bit too much for the UFC newcomer Kyle Daukaus at this point in his career, but maybe I'm wrong. So we'll see, but as of right now, I am going with Brendan Allen. Next up, we have Gian Villante moving up to heavyweight to fight Maurice Green. Now, I believe that Gian Villante is going to have the speed advantage in this fight, and I think it's going to be a big advantage. Now, Maurice Green is going to have, of course, the height and reach advantage and the weight advantage, but Gian Villante is a skilled kickboxer, and he used to be, you know, a 2-division champ on the regional scene. So I think that that's going to play dividends. I mean, the dude's good. I know that he's gone like 7-8 in the UFC, but that's because most of the time he just bites down on the mouthpiece and goes, okay? And you can't do that. And you know, when you start fighting the upper echelon at the UFC level. But Maurice Green isn't in the upper echelon. And I don't think he's going to have to bite down on the mouthpiece and just throw bombs. I think he can go in there and win without having to do that, quite frankly. So, we'll see. You know, that's why we have the fight. But I really believe that, you know, Gian Villante is going to be a little too much for Maurice Green to handle at this time. So, we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm going with Gian Villante. All right, guys, there's been a lot going on with Jon Jones. You know, he doesn't feel like he's getting paid what he's worth. And out of nowhere, Mike Tyson reaches out an olive branch and says, hey, I can get you what you want. I can get you this money. So, a lot of people are no-selling this. Like, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to happen. Guys, this can happen. Do you not remember Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather? This is how Dana White can get Jon Jones his money without having to pay him himself. This is it. This is the feather in the cap. I really believe that if Dana White wants to do this, if Dana White can make a lot of money off this himself, or maybe he can work something out with Jon, I don't know. Dana White's a savvy business dude. He'll figure out a way, if he wants to make this happen and benefit every party involved. This is it. This is the ultimate olive branch for Jon Jones. We got some bad news about the Contender Series. It is being delayed until August because I guess there might be a second wave of whatever going on. Who knows? But as of right now, the Contender Series is being delayed until August. It's a bummer, I know, but hopefully it can get rolling in August. We'll keep you updated on that. So let's get to this Mike Perry versus, Darren Till beef. I really think that Mike Perry, the dude just blows up all the time. So him and Darren Till have been going back and forth for, I don't know, a couple of years now. You know, they sparred, a year or two ago? And then, they were going back and forth before then, and then they sparred. And they've been going back and forth ever since then. I thought it was like a cool, bros, back and forth. Apparently it's not. Apparently they they hate each other. And Darren Till started like saying stuff about Mike Perry's girl, and now Mike Perry just like really is scaring people, I guess. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'd like to see that fight. I don't know if they're going to meet at a catch weight. I don't know if Mike Perry's just going to say, screw it, I'll go up. But the dude is basically a lightweight, fighting at welterweight. So, yeah, I don't think it's very smart of him to go up to middleweight and fight Darren Till. I'd like to see what that sparring match looked like. I know there was a little clip of it, but I want to see the whole thing. I really want to know. Mike Perry, always keeping us entertained. So Gilbert Burns is saying that Conor McGregor should be taken out of the rankings. And I agree with him. If Conor McGregor is really retired, then he should be taken out of the rankings. I don't think he is really retired. He fought, what, 5 months ago, 4 months ago? So not too long ago. He's active. But if he is really retired, then of course he should be removed from the rankings. If he's not, if this is all a ploy, then he shouldn't. That's the question. That's the $1 million question. Is this all an act? I guess we'll find out, because Gilbert's, calling his bluff publicly. I'd like to find out. I guess we'll, more fighters, do this. Maybe we'll see, because people, want that spot in the rankings. People that are currently fighting. All right, so the Max Roshkoff thing, the first fight of the night this past weekend, the dude quit in between rounds, in between the third, and the second and the third round. And a lot's being made of it because his coach did not stop the fight. He made his fighter stop the fight. And that part I do not agree with. You have to save your fighter. You have to. But a lot of people are jumping on this dude because he was, trying to push his guy back out there because this was his first UFC fight. This was his UFC debut. And I don't fault him for that. I think, the guy needed a little push. He was tired. He wasn't, too beat up. I mean, he took some big shots in that second round, but I thought he won the first pretty clearly. The judges didn't, which was really weird. But everybody that I've talked to thought he won the first. Everybody thought it was 1-1. Clearly his corner did. So I really don't see nothing wrong with it. Besides the fact that they didn't bite the bullet for him at the end. And now this kid is going to have to forever live with the fact that he had to tell the official, no, I don't have it in me. And that, that stinks. But I think this is going to be really hard for this kid to come back from. I don't know if we'll see him again. We'll see. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Been wrong plenty of times before. Alright guys, that'll do it. Remember to subscribe for more MMA content. Also give this video a thumbs up. Really helps out the channel when you do. And we will see you guys in the next one.